Welcome back to TLDR's Daily Briefing for Thursday, the 3rd of April 2025. In today's episode, we cover Netanyahu's visit to Hungary, Musk's response to rumours that he'll be leaving the Trump administration, and an unofficial UK plan for a joint European weapons fund. But first, US President Donald Trump launches an assault on the global trade order.
My fellow Americans, this is Liberation Day, waiting for a long time. April 2nd, 2025 will forever be remembered as the day American industry was reborn, the day America's destiny was reclaimed, and the day that we began to make America wealthy again.
Yesterday afternoon, as part of what he called Liberation Day, Donald Trump announced a sweeping raft of tariffs on entire countries, including a 10% universal tariff on literally everything coming into the US. There are also higher and more punitive tariffs on around 60 other countries, which Trump sees as the worst offenders when it comes to trade balances with the US. For instance, a 34% tariff on all Chinese imports, to go on top of the 20% tariff already in place, and a 20% tariff on all EU imports. Going into Liberation Day, there was a fair bit of ambiguity over what tariffs Trump was actually planning to impose. In the White House memorandum announcing the plans, which was published back in February, Trump promised, quote, reciprocal tariffs. Many people were hoping that Trump and his team were just using the threat of reciprocity to leverage concessions from America's trading partners, but that wasn't the case, and instead Trump announced perhaps the biggest single-day increase in tariff rates ever. For many around the world, confusion surrounding these tariffs has intensified, particularly regarding how Trump's team assessed the effective tariff rate, which allegedly includes factors such as currency manipulation and non-trade barriers. This approach has raised eyebrows among economists, who've pointed out that their calculations do not reflect reciprocal tariffs, which Trump claims them to be. Adding to the perplexity is the flat 10% tariff, which notably excludes Russia while including territories like the Heard and McDonald Islands, uninhabited volcanic landmasses under Australian control, home only to colonies of penguins, as well as the British Indian Ocean territories, which host a US military base but have no civilian population. As nations around the world scrambled to formulate their responses, the Stoxx Europe 600 index fell by 1.6% in early trading on Thursday. US stock futures also dropped sharply, with contracts linked to the S&P 500 index down by 2.8%, and those for the tech-heavy Nasdaq 100 falling by 3.2%. CNBC characterized the situation as worse than the worst-case scenario for markets, with stocks beginning to plummet in real time during Trump's speech. Now, if you're interested in understanding what these tariffs, due to take effect on April the 9th, actually mean, then head over to TLDR Global, where we've released an explainer video on Trump's tariffs and what this all means for the global economy. You're listening to TLDR's Daily Briefing. If you want more explainers on what's happening in the world, then you should check out TLDR's other channels. Today, apart from a video on Trump's Liberation Day tariffs, we also released a video on why protests in southeastern Europe are heating up. You can find those videos linked in the description or show notes for this episode, or by searching for TLDR on YouTube or Nebula. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has arrived in Hungary for a 4-day state visit, despite an arrest warrant by the International Criminal Court, or ICC, for alleged war crimes in Gaza. It marks the first time that Netanyahu has set foot on European soil since 2023, and his second foreign trip since the start of Israel's war with Hamas, his first being to the US in February to meet with Donald Trump. In November 2024, ICC judges issued the arrest warrant, ruling that there were reasonable grounds to believe Netanyahu and his former Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant bore criminal responsibility for alleged war crimes and crimes against humanity. At the same time, Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán indicated he would defy the ICC's ruling, saying it would have no effect in Hungary. Then on Thursday, hours after Netanyahu arrived in Budapest, Orbán's chief of staff said that Hungary will withdraw from the ICC. The ICC is yet to comment. Billionaire Elon Musk has denied that his time in Trump's administration is coming to an end, after Politico reported on Wednesday that Trump said Musk would be leaving his role soon. In a post on X, Musk dismissed the Politico report as fake news. It comes after a Musk-backed Wisconsin Supreme Court candidate, Brad Schimmel, lost by 10 percentage points to Democratic candidate Susan Crawford in the most expensive judicial race in US history. Musk has sparked criticism by handing out $1 million checks to 2 Republican voters in Wisconsin, as well as offering payments of between $20 and $100 to people who signed a petition against purportedly partisan judges. But at the election, according to the Financial Times, every county in Wisconsin recorded swings towards the Democrats compared to the 2024 presidential election. On Monday, Trump said, "At some point, Elon's going to want to go back to his company." The White House also confirmed that Musk will depart from public service as a special government employee when his incredible work is complete. Finally, the UK has floated plans for a European supranational institution that jointly purchases military equipment, stockpiles weapons, and funds Europe's rearmament efforts. In an informal paper seen by the Financial Times, the plan for a fund that would both lend money for defence projects and buy military equipment was circulated last week with key European countries, although it isn't an official proposal yet. It comes ahead of a meeting in Warsaw next week between UK Chancellor Rachel Reeves, Norwegian Finance Minister Jens Stoltenberg, and EU finance ministers to discuss defence spending. That's all for today. We'll be back with you next week, so make sure you're subscribed wherever you listen. In the meantime, you can check out the latest episode of our podcast, The World Leader Leaderboard, where we discuss which heads of government are doing well and who's doing badly every week. You can find the link in the podcast description. This was a TLDR news production hosted by Georgina Findlay, written by Nadja Lovadinov and Georgina Findlay, and produced by Scarlett Watchorn. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back again on Monday.